If you are hearing this in December, in the middle of all the glitter, noise, fake joy, and heavy memories, that is not an accident. This is your warning and your confirmation that heaven has quietly marked you for a major blessing, and there are divine signs all around you that something big is about to break loose over your life if you don't talk yourself out of it. You might feel anything but blessed right now. Money tight, relationships complicated, body tired, mind overloaded with everything that did and didn't happen this year, scrolling past other people's highlight reels and wondering, God, did I miss it? Did I mess it up? Did you forget me? But the shocking truth is that for chosen ones, the days just before a breakthrough often look like disappointment, delay, and spiritual static, and if you don't know how to read the signs, you will assume God is silent when He is actually setting the stage. First, notice this. As the year closes, there is a strange spiritual pressure on your life that doesn't make sense on paper. Out of nowhere, old patterns, old temptations, old fears, and old insecurities you thought you buried in March or June suddenly flare up again in December, like they're asking for one more dance. You may feel more attacked in your mind than usual. Random anxiety, weird dreams, moments of heaviness that hit you for no reason. That is not just holiday stress. That is often a hidden sign that something is trying to keep you from crossing a threshold you don't even see yet. Hell doesn't fight you this hard over nothing. When you feel that odd mix of pressure and expectancy, like your soul is tired but your spirit secretly feels like something is about to happen, that's a sign you're close to a delivery date. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 says the vision is for an appointed time and, though it delay, wait for it. It will surely come, it will not tarry. And December is one of those months where heaven loves to cash in what felt delayed. The first divine sign is acceleration in your inner world before you see anything in your outer world. You notice your spirit cutting through noise faster. Things you used to tolerate now irritate your spirit. Conversations that used to entertain you now feel empty. You might find yourself leaving group chats on mute, backing away from superficial drama, and craving quiet time with God in strange little pockets, early in the morning when everyone else is asleep, late at night when the house finally quiets down. Instead of feeling satisfied by endless scrolling, you feel drained by it, like your soul is allergic to nonsense. That is not you becoming antisocial. That is heaven detoxing your appetite, because God will not pour a major blessing into a life that is still addicted to distractions. The shift in your cravings, toward worship, prayer, journaling, scripture, even simple stillness, is a secret clue that God is preparing your container. Romans 12 verse 2 says to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, and you are noticing your mind rejecting what once felt normal. That is a divine sign. Another sign is that your memory of this year refuses to stay bitter. Yes, some things went wrong. People left, money was tight, doors closed, mistakes were made. Yet somehow, instead of rehearsing everything that broke, you start seeing patterns of protection. You go, wait, if that door had stayed open, I would be trapped right now. If that relationship hadn't ended, my spirit would be half dead. If that job had accepted me, I wouldn't have been free when this new opportunity just came. You begin seeing how Romans 8 verse 28 has been secretly working behind the scenes, making all things work together for good, even the parts that still hurt. When you can look back at a painful year and still say, God, I don't understand everything, but I can see your fingerprints. That's not just maturity, it's a prophetic sign you're ready for more. God does not hand major blessings to people who refuse to see Him in the small ones. December has a way of exposing whether your heart is stuck in why me, or has shifted into what are you doing through this. And that shift is often sign number 2 that heaven has greenlit a new level of favor. The third divine sign is that you start experiencing strange, precise little confirmations that feel too specific to be coincidence. You think of a scripture and see it pop up on a random post 5 minutes later. You consider starting a business or ministry, and suddenly someone you barely talk to sends you a message saying, I don't know why, but I feel like you're supposed to start that thing you've been thinking about. You see repeating numbers not as a superstition but as a nudge to pay attention. You hear the same theme in different sermons, different songs, different videos, new thing, restoration, harvest, time. You keep stumbling over verses like Isaiah 43 verse 19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it? Or Joel 2 verse 25 about God restoring the years the locusts have eaten. These are not just nice verses for your Pinterest board. They are heaven's way of aligning your internal radio to the frequency of what's coming. In December, God often gets louder through repetition. When the same message stalks you from multiple directions, that's sign 3. The word over your life has shifted, and your spirit knows it even if your circumstances don't. The fourth divine sign is disruption in your circle right before your blessing. This is the one that hurts the most and is easiest to misread. As the year closes, you may find certain relationships becoming strained, awkward, or simply fading without a big fight. People you thought would be with you forever suddenly don't have time. Invitations shrink. You see who checks on you and who only checks on your status. And perversely, this often happens right when you thought you needed people the most. But hear this clearly. God will often prune your circle before He promotes your life. Why? Because your next blessing is not meant to be shared with every familiar face from your past. Think about Abraham. God told him in Genesis 12 to leave his father's house before promising to bless him and make him into a great nation. Think about Joseph. If his brothers had loved him, he would have stayed in comfort instead of moving toward his assignment. Think about David, overlooked in the field, separated from his brothers, yet anointed in front of them. You are in that pattern. The hidden warning inside your December loneliness is that some people cannot go where you're going next, not because they're evil, but because they are misaligned. They don't have the capacity to celebrate your blessing without contaminating it with envy, guilt-tripping, or spiritual laziness. Your discomfort right now, seeing texts go ignored, feeling left out of gatherings, sensing weird tension, is often God saying, I removed them because you wouldn't. That's sign 4. It hurts, but if you look back after the blessing hits, you'll realize He was protecting you from having your joy slowly drained by the wrong company. Another shocking divine sign is the sudden surfacing of opportunities you are almost too afraid to take seriously. Out of nowhere, a door cracks open that looks too big, too good, not me. A job posting that fits your secret dream but you think you're unqualified for. An invitation to collaborate, to speak, to serve, to move, to study, to lead. Something that touches the deepest desires you buried under maybe next year. Your immediate reflex might be to dismiss it, that's for other people, not me. But the fact that it appeared now, at the end of the year when you were mourning what didn't happen, is often God's way of saying, I am doing more than you asked or imagined. Ephesians 3 verse 20. And here's the pattern. Right before this kind of opportunity shows up, God usually works on your character in quiet ways, teaching you consistency in the small things, nudging you to show up even when no one sees, asking you to forgive people who never apologized, calling you to obey in inconvenient little ways. Those months when you were faithful in what felt like nothing were actually auditions for something. When the door swings open in December, heaven is not just testing your courage, it's rewarding your hidden obedience. That's sign 5. What is in front of you scares you and excites you at the same time, and the only thing that makes you qualified is not your resume but your history with God. Another sign is that your relationship with money, provision, and generosity starts to feel different. You might have had a year where the math didn't make sense, and yet somehow your needs were met. Bills got paid unexpectedly, random refunds came through, someone covered a cost you were stressing over, or every time you thought you'd be empty, there was just enough. December has a way of highlighting how God has quietly been Jehovah Jireh all along, even when you thought it was your hustle keeping you afloat. At the same time, He might challenge you in small, surprising ways to be generous even when you feel like you don't have much to give. A small seed into someone else's life, an act of kindness you're not posting about, a gift that stretches you. This is Malachi 3 verse 10 and Luke 6 verse 38 in action, not in a manipulative, give-to-get way, but in training your heart to trust that you are a river, not a reservoir. One sign you're about to receive a major blessing is that you become strangely unafraid to release what you used to cling to. You start saying, "If God asks me to sow this, there must be something He's growing." Where others hoard in fear at the end of the year, you feel led to plant in faith. The enemy will whisper, "You're crazy. You should be saving every cent," but your spirit knows, "I am partnering with a different economy." That internal boldness with giving, even in small ways, is sign 6 that heaven is preparing a bigger harvest than what you let go of. Another divine sign is the return of hope you thought was dead. Somewhere around mid-year, you may have buried certain prayers, quietly deciding, "Maybe it won't happen for me. Maybe I misheard God. Maybe I'm asking for too much." You stopped talking about it. You stopped journaling about it. You stopped mentioning it in prayer because repeated disappointment hurt too much. But then December comes, and out of nowhere, that desire rises back up, not as a craving you're chasing, but as a whisper you can't kill. You wake up thinking about it again. A sermon hits that exact area. You hear someone testify about the very thing you gave up on, and instead of jealousy, you feel a strange, gentle, "Me too, Lord," rise from your spirit. Ezekiel 37 speaks of God breathing on dry bones, and one of the signs He's about to bless you is that you can feel Him breathing on old dreams, old callings, old promises. This is dangerous hope, the kind that makes you nervous because you don't want to be disappointed again, and yet you can't deny that it's stirring. The enemy will try to convince you this is self-delusion. But pay attention. If the hope is pushing you toward prayer, toward holiness, toward readiness, toward practical preparation, it is less likely fantasy and more likely prophecy. That's sign 7. Another sign is increased conviction about your habits, not in a shame-based way, but in a loving, surgical way. You may start sensing God put His finger on small things you used to rationalize. The way you talk about people, the content you consume when you're alone, how you handle anger, the way you procrastinate, how you flirt with sin and then call it struggle. Suddenly, those things don't feel fun anymore. They feel heavy. A joke that requires you to dishonor someone doesn't land like it used to. A TV show that once entertained you now grieves your spirit. A habit that helped you cope now feels like it's choking you. That's not God being strict for no reason. He's preparing you to carry something bigger without dropping it. Luke 16 verse 10 says, "Whoever is faithful with little will be trusted with much," and your December conviction is heaven's way of saying, "Much is on the way, let's clean house now." It might be as simple as God nudging you to go to bed earlier, to steward your body, to stop scrolling certain accounts, to stop entertaining emotionally unsafe people. Every time you say yes to those nudges, you're strengthening the vessel that will hold your blessing. That internal tightening, that sense that God is getting serious with you, is sign 8 that He is not playing about what's coming. Finally, a powerful divine sign is a strange sense of peace in the middle of unresolved circumstances. Nothing on the outside has fully shifted. Bills aren't fully paid, relationships aren't fully healed, plans aren't fully clear, and yet, in moments, you feel this unexplainable calm settle over you, like Philippians 4 verse 7, the peace of God which transcends all understanding, wrapping around your mind. You catch yourself not reacting the way you used to. The old you would be spiraling, venting to everyone, catastrophizing every delay. But now, even when your emotions flare, there's a deeper layer in you that whispers, "God's got this. I don't know how, but He does." You might still cry, still feel lonely, still get frustrated, yet there's a root of trust that didn't exist last December. That peace is not imaginary. It is a receipt in the Spirit that something has already been decided in heaven. Isaiah 26 verse 3 promises perfect peace to those whose minds are stayed on God because they trust in Him. If your mind keeps getting pulled back to Him in the middle of chaos, that's sign 9. Your blessing is not just external. It is internal, and the external will soon catch up. So how do you prepare in light of these signs as December unfolds? You prepare by agreeing with God in 3 key ways: with your mouth, with your habits, and with your focus. With your mouth, you stop cursing your own life at the end of the year. You stop saying, "Nothing ever works out for me. This year was a waste. I always get the short end," and you start declaring what heaven is saying even before you feel it. God is not finished with me. He is able to do immeasurably more. Ephesians 3 verse 20. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for good. Genesis 50 verse 20. My latter days will be greater than my former. Haggai 2 verse 9. With your habits, you make small, concrete moves that signal faith. Clean your space as if you are expecting visitors. Update your resume. Design the first draft of that project. Set a budget. Sow where he leads. Practice the skill you think you're not ready to use publicly. With your focus, you resist the trap of comparison that December amplifies. Other people's engagements, promotions, vacations, gifts, and keep your eyes on what God is doing in you, not just around you. The universe is not random. It's under the authority of the God who set the stars in place, and He knows your name. The signs from the universe that you feel are actually the Creator's way of whispering, "I am near, I am moving, and I have not forgotten the secret conversations we had when nobody else was listening." Chosen one, you can spend this month scrolling, numbing, and complaining that the year didn't go as planned, or you can treat every strange confirmation, every pruning, every tug of hope, every uncomfortable conviction, and every wave of peace as what they truly are. Divine signs that you are standing on the edge of a major blessing and God is asking you to stay awake, stay pure, stay expectant, and step into January not as someone limping out of a bad year, but as someone who recognized what heaven was doing in December and walked into the new season ready to carry it.